We are not nearly as advanced as past futurists envisioned. One need only look at concept cars from the late 1950s and see that America has fallen short of the idealistic dreams our grandparents had. One of the many things attributed to 1950s cinema is the birth of the science fiction genre, spawned by American imagination in the face of Project Mercury and communist aggression. Science fiction was popular in the print media at the time as well, and the texts of Ray Bradbury and Philip K. Dick are still taught in schools nationwide. The 1950s, however, is not where we find the best sci-fi movies. Nothing happens in a bubble, and tracing the origin of paradigm shifts, especially in Hollywood, is not as clear-cut as some make it seem. The science fiction genre had a strange era during the 1980s, torn between teen comedy and action drama, and even losing pace to horror at several moments. We can see now that the genre was restricted by the technology of the age, and the creative leaps and bounds that filmmakers like George Lucas and Michael Crichton had made just a few years earlier had virtually brought the genre to a standstill. Still, the decade is not without its landmark films. The aesthetic shift from the 80s to the 90s had not been very dramatic until grunge and heroin chic took over part of the cultural zeitgeist. The Soviet Union's fall and the rise of globalism brought new challenges to the socio-political landscape. And in America, casual disdain and cynicism injected dark tones and ideas into a lot of the media at the time, all the while computers and the digital world was increasingly being pushed toward consumers. Jurassic Park and the Terminator 2 were massively successful, and a growing US economy had only begun to inflate box office numbers. The rising international markets had studios clamoring for something new. Computers were becoming mainstream, finally, and the power of digitally generated imagery had advanced enough to bring some of the wildest ideas to life. Yes, the baby boomers gave us science fiction, but it is Generation X who took it to new heights. Every decade's movies are remembered fondly for different reasons, but it is undeniable that the best and brightest sci-fi films came during the final orbit of the 1990s.
All right, kid, here's the deal. At any given time, there are around 1,500 aliens on the planet, most of them right here in Manhattan. And most of them are decent enough. They're just trying to make a living.
Cab drivers?
Not as many as you'd think. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat, and 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.